Um, the main thing I wanted to say about this Birddog Action Report tool is if you've ever used a Google form or SurveyMonkey or any of these kinds of things, it's real straightforward, real intuitive, and real easy because this should be the last thing that gets in the way of you reporting in what you heard from these candidates at your bird dogging. So, in designing this and in the work that Rachel did to put together the data structure, we tried to make this just as seamless as possible, and we will try to continue to improve it from here. But basically, all this form does is walk you through the platform questions that you might have asked. Maybe you asked all 27 questions and you're a rock star. Maybe you asked one of the platform questions and you really rocked that question. No matter what the scenario, you can use this report interface to just input whatever happened. And so I think I'll just quick walk through an example of how, a scenario where, you asked a question, you got an answer, you're going to record that answer and you'll record the verbatim as well as sort of the categorical response. Paul, Rachel, did you want to add anything before I just dove into the scenario? Um, yeah. This is so. I'll just quick do a walkthrough, and then if you have questions, I'll ask you to just hold them until the end, and we can always go back through the various screens and make sure we get to where we need to get to. So basically, this action report tool says uh, fill out this form for a single candidate, all the things that you asked that candidate. If you're a candidate forum and you got that question to multiple candidates, you'll just fill out this form once for the first candidate and go back through and do it again for the second candidate. And there's a couple links here. It links back to the Birddog platform and it links to some additional documentation if you really want to get into the details. But I think just what you see in front of you should be enough. So it just asks for your name, and I'll just input my name, and it asks for an email address in case we need to get back to you for, clearing up something, or it looks like the data got corrupted. Whatever happens, we'll have accountability. Now, I should just let you know that no matter what happens, you cannot corrupt this form, and if you do, Google Docs automatically saves all the past versions. So no way to break this thing. So the first thing it asks is, where and when did you bird dog? Some of these questions are required. They're marked with an asterisk. You see some on there on the screen. Other ones are not required. Maybe it wasn't even an event. Maybe you just happened to catch the legislator on the street and you talked to them there. But in this case, I'm going to say that I went to the Young Democrats Forum. And who was hosting it? The Young Dems. Where was the location? It was in Chicago, my hometown. Then it says when did the bird dogging occur? It occurred, I'm going to say it occurred yesterday. And what type of formal setting was this? You'll notice this is a drop down. So in a lot of these, you don't have to type in a lot. You will just, select something from a drop down menu. And finally, the required question says, please tell us more about the event. How many bird doggers were there? I'm going to say 3 bird doggers and 1 dog. And then we're sort of leading up to the candidate questions, but we want to get all this on the record first, so we make sure we get it. What's the name of the title of the person you spoke with? Maybe it wasn't the candidate. I'm going to say it was the communications director, but I didn't catch their name, so I'm just going to write communications director. But hopefully we get a name and a title. Which race are you entering responses for? Oh, well, it was the 4th district of Illinois. So I'm just going to put those again into these drop downs. Okay, so, oh, sorry. Yeah, the sixth district is the big one, but we love that fourth district. And then finally, it's going to ask, based on your answers to those questions, oh, which candidate was it who you spoke with? And this is, in fact, all the candidates from all the races in Illinois, and we'll add more in the future, perhaps. Mine, it turns out, was not one of these. It was Joey Jojo Jr. Shabadoo from the fourth district. So I'll just put that there. So hopefully everything, you'll be able to just pick it out of a menu, but if it's not there, you should be able to enter it so we know who you talked to. Okay, we're now in the section where you enter your responses, whatever the candidates responded to these questions. And we're going to do them one at a time, right? So you may have asked any one of these questions off the Birddog platform. They're all great. Maybe you did more than one. You'll just do one at a time. And I actually did get a good answer from Joey Jojo on this question number 1A about the healthcare system that will provide sort of decent coverage for everyone, regardless of who you are. And this is how every one of these questions works. It asks you, did you get a yes or no question out of that candidate? And definitely try to get that yes or no. In Chicago, when people start waffling, we just yell yes or no until they give a yes or no. But in this case, they waffled because that's what they typically do at the first 3 or 4 events. And Joey Jojo said, "I don't know what you mean." And that's a direct quote. If you do have a YouTube, a recording, or something else, we'll get to that later, a place where you can input that. But a quick quote here, verbatim, is really helpful. We ask for both of these. Notice these both have the asterisk. We want to know what they said verbatim, and we want to categorize. Did they say yes, or did they not get to yes? Because we're going to get them to yes, but maybe not today. Did this candidate provide responses to other questions that I wanted to record? No, in this case, that was the only question that I got to ask Joey Jojo. So I just say next, and then we do a quick follow-up at the end. These are all optional questions. If you had, as I said, a recording, give us the URL so we can, snatch that off YouTube and have that filed away. If you spoke with any journalists, give us their names, contact info, affiliation. And if you're aware of media reports that have already gotten out there about this event, if this is 3 days later, maybe there's something already out there, you can paste that here. If you don't have it now, you can always send it to the Kill the Bill Gmail. That's the form. You submit that and you're done for that candidate for that event. And as I said, if you've got another candidate, you can start another response right away. If you realize you screwed up, of course, you can go back and edit your response. But that's about the size of it. We don't want you to have to think about anything in more detail than that. Your job, the tough job you're doing, is getting out there and making it tough on these candidates, giving them the tough love of the Birddog platform.